Fundamentals are key to everything. Every now and then you get to hang out with some really cool people. Today on Wild and Kingdom, I got to hang out and Jasper got to hang out with some really cool dudes. One is a globally known songwriter named Jesse Reeves. If you've ever gone to church, there's a really good chance you have sung a song he wrote. The other is a dude I've come to love just as much, and his name is Sam Mackey. He was a Navy SEAL sniper, and he's one of the most humble dudes you'll ever meet. Today, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of shooting and how anybody, deer hunter, elk hunter, varmint hunter, bent shooter, tactical guy, we got a Navy SEAL sniper for 20 years of service, talking about the fundamentals. If every guy could just do this, you'd just shoot better. And then we're coming back in here with Jesse to do a deep dive on something that's been a burden on my heart for more than 10 years, and it's the state of the American church. It's going to be a good day, fellas.
All right, so there's multiple different ways to bore sight a weapon, and but today, since this is a bolt gun, we're going to go the way that I prefer, is bore sight it by removing the bolt and then removing the bolt and looking through the barrel at a target, and then once you can look through the barrel and see your target, then you're going to move your crosshairs to that target as well, and that should get you pretty close. So when you're doing this, it's really important that your gun is in some sort of vise. We're using a lead sled today, and if you don't have a device or some sort of vise, just try to stabilize that gun as much as you can, because it's very important that it doesn't move. So what I'll do now is I'll remove the bolt, and I'm looking through the barrel. Okay, so now I see the bottom of one of the legs of the target stand. So now I'm going to continue to look through the barrel, and I'm going to raise the lead sled, raise my elevation, if I turn the knob the right way, up to the target itself. And then once I'm on the target, I'm going to aim for one of the small red dots. So I'm going to have the bottom left small red dot on the shoot and see target, dead center in the middle of the barrel as I look down it. Okay, so now I look through my bore and I can see the center target on the shoot and see. Now I'm going to move my scope down to where the bore is looking. And what that does is moves my crosshairs, puts my crosshairs in line with the bore of the barrel. I just retired from the Navy after 20 years, and the reason I joined the Navy is because I got in a little bit of trouble when I was in high school, and I fell back on my go-to plan, which was become a Navy SEAL. And that plan started in about the 4th grade when I saw one of the greatest pieces of cinematography ever filmed, and it was a movie called Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen. And so after getting in trouble, I joined the Navy to end my probation after I turned 18, and I wanted to be a SEAL, so I was able to get some sort of SEAL contract, and I forget the nuances of that contract. Went to boot camp, passed a physical test, and which enabled me to go to BUD/S. But back then, you had to go to an A school after boot camp, and an A school is a trade school. And the trade I picked was a Master at Arms, which is military police. So went through that training, and then was fortunate enough to go to BUD/S. I went to BUD/S and made it through Hell Week, which is arguably the hardest week, but it was just a week, and BUD/S is a long grind. Made it through Hell Week, and then after Hell Week, I was injured and went to brown shirt rollback land, and then classed up with the class behind mine, failed to run again, and got dropped. And that was one of the worst days of my life at the time. After I got dropped, I had to go to the fleet to be a Master at Arms. So I was ashamed of myself, so I picked the furthest duty station away and moved to Sigonella, Italy, where I was a gate guard for about 1.5 years until I was able to go back to Buds. And every day I stood that gate was the worst day of my life, because it's not anything I wanted to do. It's not who I was, and I, wasn't the best sailor at my young age either. So I got in a little trouble, but unfortunately met a gentleman by the name of Ron Vidari, who I owe my career to because he stuck his neck out for me and helped me get back to Buds. And I went back to Buds. I was in Buds class 266 and made it right through that time. And then went to SEAL Team 8, and after that a few other SEAL teams, and spent the last 20 years in the Navy. And now I'm here, fortunate enough to be shooting some guns with people like you, Jesse.
Wait, did you do Hell Week twice?
I did. It's not a bragging moment per se, right? Because that means you failed, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to go through it twice.
God, that sucks.
Yeah. It wasn't any easier the second time.
Yeah.
I just knew what was coming, but it still sucked the whole time. But
Wow.
That's awesome. So yeah.
All right, bro. So you got a guy like me. I'm a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a deer hunter, but I have 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge you have.
Mm-hmm.
So for a guy like me, walk me through
got it.
the
So
process.
we just sighted it in. We bore sighted it, sent a couple rounds down range. Brand new gun. This Patriot's awesome. Has a lot of other features I'll get into in a second. But once we have it dialed on, this is your elevation. This is your windage. Put the caps right back on and don't touch them. Because you move those, then your reticle will move, or your crosshairs will move, and then your gun's going to be off. So right now, we got it good enough. It's right in there, right in the bullseye. So we're all there, right? So, but before you put your scope on, make sure you read the manual for the scope and for your scope rings. They're going to have to be torqued down to a certain poundage. Typically, it's 5 pounds, if I remember correctly. And you don't want this thing coming loose. That's happened to me numerous times, and it's a pain. When I buy a gun, I get a scope for it, and that scope is married to that gun primarily for the lifetime of that gun. And so I have actually also put a little Loctite on those before as well. So another important thing to know about your gun is the trigger. How many pounds is it, and do you like it, right? And you don't have to like it. If you know how many poundage is, it's a little tough for you. You just know that particular gun has a hard trigger pull, and you're gonna have to work through your processes as you shoot and just work around that issue, right? The MOSSBERG Patriot has an adjustable trigger, which is very nice. I personally like my triggers extremely light, just because of my thought process and my mantra that I say to myself as I pull the trigger. I always say straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back, because that's one of the most important things is the trigger pull. So
Bringing straight back. Yeah.
are you able to lay down prone and shoot your deer from your deer stand? Probably not, right? More than likely, something's gonna happen quick and that shooter's gonna walk out, your heart's gonna be beating through your chest. Like I'm just trying to breathe and not have a heart attack when this happens to me. And the position is never ideal. Maybe I'll have a bean bag or a sock full of rice over the windowsill to cut down on some vibration. But try to get the best body position you can. By that, I mean get as much as your body behind that gun, and your shoulders are square. If you were laying down, your spine would be completely in line with your firearm. And you get behind your gun, have a good body position, or the best one you can have. And your next thing is your cheek to stock weld. What I do is I put my cheek on the gun and I roll my fat cheek down until the stock hits my cheekbone. And a lot of guys will put a little piece of tape, a little piece of moleskin, or something like that right there on their buttstock as a reference point for their cheek to stock weld, so their cheek ends up in the same spot the whole time. Okay, you're a big guy and you have a smaller gun, and your proper cheek to stock weld doesn't work for you that well because your cheek is below the sight. You can do multiple things. You can adjust your cheek to stock weld for that particular firearm, right? And or you could take a PT pad. I have an example I'll show you in a bit. A PT pad, some sort of padding, put it on your buttstock and wrap it in, what I use is that sticky
Tape.
Yes, nailed it. No, it's a bandage that peels off fairly easy, but it's sticky and stretchy. Now they're making it in camouflage, actually.
KT tape?
Yep. And so I'll take a PT pad, wrap around this, then I'll wrap the tape around that and make it big and bulky so my cheeks to stock weld is right where I want it every time. All right, so the next point of performance is your grip, right? It's gonna be different on every firearm. And you know, it's not uncommon to have a vise of some sort, could be a hog saddle or something of that nature in your deer blind with you. So your setup could actually look something like this. So what I like to do is put as little influence on the gun as possible while owning it as well. And what I mean by that, you want to get into the gun, you want to get your body position right, get your cheek to stock weld proper, and then you can use your backhand a little bit to raise your elevation if you need to. And you can also use your breath. You know, I grip the firearm right here lightly, but enough to control it. Like a firm handshake, a little less than a firm handshake actually now that I'm doing it. And you will put then you want to put your finger all the way into the trigger well. I see a lot of guys pulling the trigger up here, and that'll throw you off. I put the trigger right where the center of my fingerprint is.
Okay. So I do have a question about that. I was always taught to squeeze. Are you not squeezing?
No.
With your...
This hand right
Yeah.
here? Oh no, I'm not squeezing at all. I'm holding.
Okay.
So it's about, let me see your hand, about like that.
All right.
So not that good of a handshake. Almost like you don't like the guy
So
that much.
everything's just with your pointer finger,
Yep.
straight back.
I try to take as much human air out of the shooting process as possible. If you grip down on something, your muscles tighten and you tend to shake a little bit. So I like to be nice and relaxed and implement as little amount of human air as possible.
I usually squeeze and say, don't miss, don't
Now!
miss, don't miss.
And the next one could be the hardest one to control, and that's breathing. So what I like to do is I like to shoot at my natural respiratory pause. So when you breathe in and you breathe out, before you breathe in again, you have a natural respiratory pause. So I like to shoot on that pause. I will even hold my breath for a second, maybe two, but if it's not there, I have to take another breath. So breathing is very important. You'll move your crosshairs up and down, especially when your heart's beating or you're breathing heavy. Make sure you're able to control your breathing. In, out, straight back, boom. This is the biggest point of performance for me personally. So you always want to pull that trigger straight back. And I have a mantra that I've said to myself for years, and it helps calm me down, especially if I see a shooter buck, because I have bad buck fever and it just really gets to me. So weapons unlocked, or weapons unloaded, put it forward. I put my finger in the trigger. On this MOSSBERG PATRIOT, they have another safety here. It almost acts as a two-stage trigger, right? So this safety could be your first stage to ease you into the process of pulling the trigger. So I take the slack out, and then I think to myself, straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back. And I pull that trigger back as slow and as straight as humanly possible. And the reason you want to do straight back is improper trigger pull could create the biggest misses. All right, the final point of performance would be your follow through. So you have everything perfect, your body position, your breathing, your trigger pull, side alignment, sight picture. You pull the trigger, boom. One thing you want to do is you want to remain on the gun, right? When the gun kicks back, you're locked back into your body position and you're looking through the scope. And this is for your follow-up shot. If you're shooting, let's just say a deer and or a hog and it's on the run, and or you shoot it and it starts running, it allows you to follow up a lot quicker if your follow through is very proficient. So we're about to put Jesse on this smoke wagon. I know I went over a lot, and it was a little bit more in depth than what the average hunter will need, and but surface level. Make sure you have a good body position, make sure you control your breathing, and make sure that trigger pull is straight back, straight back, straight back, and then follow through and be prepared to re-engage on that animal.
Yeah, I'm a songwriter. I was a professional musician for 17 years on the road with a guy named Chris Tomlin. Got off the road in 2014, started planting churches, walked away from music for a brief second, but I'm back in it, and that's what I do full time, is write songs for a living and pastor a church for free.
Little ditty about Jesse and Sam.
I know.
I believe that's Mellencamp. So you're a songwriter. What songs type of songs did you used to write, and what songs are you writing now?
It's a good question. Most of the songs that I've been a part of, if people have heard them, they're people that go to church. Yeah, most of the songs that people would know are songs in church. How Great Is Our God would probably be one of the bigger ones. Our God. Lord, I Need You. Most recently was I Speak Jesus, kind of made its way into the church. And then there's a whole other side of country music, which I love writing as well. I like writing country music because you can be real honest. I have a song right now with a guy named Max McNown called A Lot More Free that's doing pretty good. So it's songwriting is the weirdest way in the world to make a living, because 95% of what you write, nobody ever hears.
Which came easier to you, country songs, or I'm going to call them gospel songs, lack of a better term?
Well, we were talking about it earlier. It's a sickness.
Yeah.
Being a songwriter, because you can't shut it off. So they're the same. Writing a Christian song will usually come out of like studying the word or something you hear in a sermon or whatever that clicks something in your head, like, oh, I love that lyric, I want to chase that. Country music just comes out of living life and like conversations you hear.
So my daughter and all her friends are really into Christian music right now. All the songs that I hear are very upbeat. You know, in country you have your murder ballads and like your slower songs. Is there that tone in the Christian music realm? Let's slow it down a little bit, you know, and maybe a little bit more powerful and not as uplifting. Same message.
That's a great question. It depends on if you're listening to Christian radio. Okay. They're wanting that upbeat, positive message. I don't actually write a lot of those songs. I like songs that are a little weightier, that make you feel it, make you think. I have a song out right now that's straight out of Isaiah 6, which is one of the heaviest chapters in the Bible, about seeing the throne room of God. So, yeah, it's hard to write that and have it all upbeat and happy, because that's like a woe is me type song. You know,
it's pretty common in the SEAL teams as a guy progresses through his career to go from not being that godly to being godly. And it's just, you know, the lifestyle and everything. You just start to slow down, you get wiser. And I can almost see that same thing within, you know, the music industry as a musician, where you're running hard, running and gunning for X amount of years, and then you need something bigger than yourself. What got you into being a pastor or a minister?
My goodness, you're good at this. Yeah, that's huge. Being a pastor is that's also has to do with just being a slow learner. Planting churches. Every time you plant a church, you swear you're never going to do that again, and then you end up doing it. I think you just said it right. It's what I'm interested in life is things that are bigger than myself. We're here this long, you know. I want to be part of something that lasts past that. And songs in the church are a great example. I mean, we're still singing Amazing Grace. We're still singing all these songs that were written by Fanny Crosby. And yeah, they just last, and I don't know. I think they're going to last forever. That's what I want to be a part of, something that lasts forever.
You and me both, my friend.
Yeah. So I am a deer hunter, and I know a little bit about what he was talking about, but there's about 5 things he said that I've never done. So we're going to see what happens.
Let's get you into it. Just grab the rifle and get into it like you were going to shoot.
Okay.
Okay. Now, these lead sleds, they are interesting when it comes to elevation. So you could take your left hand and form some sort of quasi fist underneath your buttstock and use that for elevation. It helps if you're, bone on bone and your hand's really relaxed.
I'm almost there. Okay, I'm on it.
Okay, so now you know what that feels like. Now grab a bullet.
That's one of these?
Yep.
Okay.
Bullets. I need more bullets.
Go ahead and throw it in the chamber. And when you slam that bolt home, slam it home. This is a tool and it's meant to be used. There's an explosion that goes on within that chamber every time you pull it, so you never have to be light when slamming that bolt home. That good cheek to stock weld. Get your body as much as you can behind there. Breathe out, and don't pull the trigger yet. Just go through this process a time or two. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel your natural respiratory pause at the bottom of your breath.
Mm-hmm.
And if your crosshairs are moving up and down with your breath, you want them to land on the target during your natural respiratory pause.
Yep, it goes down when I breathe in, and then at the pause, it's right on it.
Perfect. So now take your time, and when you're on that pause, you can pull the trigger and just think to yourself, straight back, straight back, straight back, and pull it as slow as you can. That was great. The one thing you immediately did is you looked up over the scope to see if you hit, and that can throw your shot way off.
For sure, because now my scope is pointing this way.
Correct. For your next one, you need to focus on your follow through. So go ahead and eject that round.
You're dead center. Absolutely like dead center. That's a great shot.
Great shot, great coach. Look at us. Just a duo. Let's go write a little ditty.
Pretty much every hunter I've ever met, including myself, is self-taught on how to shoot a gun. We shot for over an hour or more, and it was fascinating to watch Jesse's groups get tighter and tighter as Sam coached him through the core of the fundamentals of shooting. Holy cow! You went straight through the same bullet hole, bro. He went straight through the bullet hole.
It's called keyholing. That's exactly
what's
what
that called?
Keyholing.
Okay.
Holy cow!
I tried to stay down on it, and the gun's still over here.
And that's just the recoil and the lead sled.
Today was about fundamentals. When you know the fundamentals of anything, be it business or nutrition or money or even shooting, it keeps you out of the ditch. Having the discipline to maintain core fundamentals to anything is the key to long-term sustainability. And fundamentals and the concept of it would be at the very core of why we wanted to create this episode. Wild and Kingdom comes in 2 parts. What we call the show, which is what you've just seen. But then there's the follow-up podcast. Jesse and me and Jasper and Greg Driver, we're all headed back into the studio now to talk about the state of the American church. It's our agreement and our conviction that the American church is suffering from a massive departure from the fundamentals for which Jesus created it. And I hope you can join us on this journey. You can catch it on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or you can even watch it on YouTube at the Wild and Kingdom YouTube channel. Click on the podcast playlist if you want to watch it. And hey, let's all take a second and just say thank you to God for men like Sam Mackey. Lord Jesus, we thank you for Sam, a man who provided Overwatch for men like us for 20 years. He put his life on the line many times. And we ask, Holy Spirit, that you give him favor with outsider. that he may continue his legacy.